Welcome to Newsmakers. I'm your host, Lisa Oligas. In this edition, we learn about a campus ministry program that is expanding in numbers and geographically. Koinonia is the Greek word for fellowship. The non-denominational ministry first took root at Missouri Southern State University back in 1967. But in 2018, it grew with the purchase of property a half-mile north of the university, which now includes 6 houses constructed by the ministry, as well as a previously existing church building. Joining us to talk about the progress and mission of Koinonia is the leader of the ministry, David Weaver. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us.
I'm so glad you're here. I got to see it firsthand. It's just an awesome ministry you have. But we really want to talk a little bit about this whole, the whole process of getting to where you are now. You've been with Koinonia for decades. Why did you get involved in the first place? Why do you stay with it?
That's a funny story. I came here from Washington State. I grew up about 80 miles south of Seattle and went to Ozark Christian College, and then met my wife there. She's from Jacksonville, Florida, so we kind of met in the middle. And in 1986, we finished up at Ozark and came to Missouri Southern, and so we actually took our degrees from both colleges in May of 1989. And she was the first graduate of the co-op program in elementary education between Missouri Southern and Ozark Christian. So I was going to go back home and buy a photography studio. I owned Weaver Photography here in Joplin for many years, and that fell through. And so I heard at a leaders meeting in an area church that there was going to be an opening. And so I asked my wife, I said, what do you think about Koinonia? And she said, have you ever gone? And I said, no. And she said, have you ever been involved in campus ministry? No. Do you know anything? I said, not really. And she said, well, you never know when God's opening a door, you might as well try. So had an interview, and I came home and I said they interviewed 5 people and I was the least qualified. Not a chance I got that. So it was interesting. I got a call from the campus minister at the time, and he said, are you coming to our banquet? And I said, I hadn't planned on it. And he said, really? And it turned out they'd hired me, but nobody told me. They introduced me at the banquet. So anyway, I thought I'd be here for a year or two. It was kind of a tent making. There's a term they used for Apostle Paul where he made tents and did ministry. And so Weaver Photography was kind of my primary income, and then Koinonia. And so I thought I'd be here for a year or two and get back to Washington State. And, you know, you look up, it's been 20 and then 25. And so I think this is year 34.
Wow.
And it's just been a real blessing. So.
That's awesome. You don't work alone, though. There is a board. Tell us how it operates, how the ministry, has evolved over the years, and what the board does.
Yeah. So in 1967, the ministry started kind of under leadership of College Heights Christian Church. We both moved to this area at the same time. In fact, we met at College Heights for many years, and probably in the early '80s, they started a board. Some of the early founders, Vernon Lawson, one of the founders of Allgard Martin, an engineering firm here in town, and then also Elmer Tyree, a longtime chemist in the area. And so it's evolved. We currently have about 16 members on our board. Vernon's son, Doug Lawson's on our board, who's also the mayor of Joplin. Yeah. Patty Vavra serves on our board, longtime track and field coach here at Missouri Southern. Steve Reed's on our board from Franklin Tech, and many names from area supporting churches. And just they work together really well, and it's just been a joy to work with them.
It's awesome. I mean, it really is kind of a community project as well, because there's a lot of people who want to care about these kids.
Yeah, somebody said when a student goes to college, they choose their friends, and their friends choose the direction they go in life. I think there's a lot of truth to that. So, I encourage people, hang out with people that are headed where you want to be heading. And we think that it's a great peer group. It's a group of Christian friends. So it's just a great play, and it makes college go by so quickly. As if it doesn't already. They come and they meet friends, and you saw Thursday night along with all the other activities throughout the week. So, real blessing.
So let's explain that. Thursday nights you always have a dinner and then some worship, and we're going to talk with the worship leaders a little later. Yeah. But there are other churches involved. How do they help support this ministry?
So let's talk about funding first. We have about 16 churches that support us at various amounts per month, and half of our support comes from churches. Maybe about 40%, and the 60% comes from interested individuals that just donate. We're a 501c3 organization. And so then we have churches that help prepare a meal. And we used to do the meal Thursdays at noon. Actually, we used to meet on Tuesday nights, and we had a meal on campus. But that's changed where we serve the meal at 6:30. That's provided by area churches. They take turns in feeding 50 or 60 people. And then about 7 o'clock, the meeting starts. And so it's neat to have all those churches involved.
Yeah. So you do something different that a lot of campus ministries don't. You've built houses. So why why did you want to buy property in the first place? How this idea gets sparked to, hey, let's build houses for these students?
Well, somebody called us Bedouins, just kind of wondering. We really didn't have a home. We met at College Heights for a time, and then we met in the Lion's Den. And we were always looking for a home. It was frustrating to have to set up sound equipment every night and tear it down when we were done. And so we purchased 4 acres of land, and we were interested in building a student center. Well, we got the price on that, $700,000. It would have been $3,500 a month. We didn't have it. So I'd worked with housing for a lot of years in the city of Duquesne. I served out there for about 17 years, and through the tornado, we did a lot of house construction. So that gave me the knowledge to understand all the processes, take an empty 4-acre lot and turn it into something. And so I had some rental properties of my own that we rented to college students, and I said, there's no way we can afford, we don't have the cash flow to build the student center.
Right.
But if we build houses, and 6 houses was the key number, because once 6 houses are paid for, we have enough to fund 2 full-time staff positions. So there's a goal. I think we owe about $800,000, and we're going to go into capital funds campaign pretty soon. We'd love to pay those off, and then those are going to produce about $6,000 a month just to help fund the staff. And as the value in housing goes up, it keeps up with inflation of salary. So that's the idea. And then we were going to build a building, but then we had a church that was just to the south of our property, 4 acres, and they ceased to exist, and so we were able to acquire their property. So it gave us the building we needed, 8 acres of land and 6 houses. And so I'm tired of building. It's been a long process. And supply chain, that's been quite the process with all the issues we've had. But the houses are full, and we've been really blessed, and the students really enjoy those.
So the students do pay sort of a rent,
Yeah.
and that helps support the payments on the houses as well, correct?
Yeah, so the houses are self-funding. In fact, we've been, we were fortunate to get a good interest rate, so we've actually been able to pay extra on principal each month. And so we've got a goal to pay those off as quickly as we can. And somebody said, are you going to build houses 7 and 8? I'm thinking, 6 is already a lot to manage, so we'll see.
But the goal was they would then become a source of revenue to support the ministry.
Yes.
And the staff of the ministry.
Yes.
Which obviously that could be something that's difficult in hard times, if you're relying on donations.
Well, a lot of donations are spent on operations expenses. And, this is a donation. If somebody were to donate $10,000, it's a gift that keeps on giving every year into infinity. And so that's the beauty, is that any donation that helps us to pay those off will really be around 30, 40 years from now.
Yeah,
So.
it's excellent. Well, it's a great mission. David was kind enough to give us a chance to take a tour of one of the houses, and let's go take a look. From the outside, it looks like just another house on a block in a subdivision. But inside, it's a home shared by Missouri Southern State University cross-country runners.
So when you first come in the door behind you, there's kind of a living room, dining room combination. And so very open layout out here, which is nice. Being in college, we have people over all the time, and so you get to have everyone kind of in the same place. And even while you're in the kitchen.
A kitchen where Gabe McLean and his 3 roommates who share this Koinonia house actually like to cook.
We don't complain about it. It's got a dishwasher, so we can be lazy as college students. And comes with all the appliances in it and whatnot.
The house is one of 6 on the Koinonia property.
Right here past the kitchen, on the right, you'll have laundry, which is nice. It'll access just from the garage, so we don't complain about having that, especially as runners. We're constantly doing laundry. Okay. And right across from it is the master bedroom, or what would be defined as the master bedroom. This is where I stay. So it's a little bigger. How'd you get so lucky? I know. I guess I pulled a fast one on the other 3. So it gives you plenty of space for a nice bed, and got a couple windows in it, and get nice lighting and nice space, and just room to stretch.
The house has 2 bathrooms designed with double sinks and doors for privacy for shared use. Gabe's spacious closet provides plenty of room for clothes and running shoes galore. Look at the shoes!
Yeah, the truth comes out, so I guess guys got just as much clothes as girls.
Students pay rent for Koinonia houses with prices similar to dorms, but they can stay here year-round. And that's not the only benefit when compared to dorms, as students shift from high school graduation to college life.
And then all of a sudden, 3 months later, you're put in like this brick-made building with some random guy that you don't really know. And so for me, it was just kind of like a house is home. Like, you can make that home, I guess, but like by the end of the year, you got to tear everything down. I mean, everything that you did, you got to tear back down. So just like coming home to something that's like gonna be yours for like 2, 3, 4 years, however long, like that's important to me, because like what I do in my room, in this house, like, you know, it's gonna be things that I remember forever.
The freedom is just the big aspect. You don't have to worry about someone knocking on your wall or banging below you or above you. And so you just kind of get to relax in your own space, and you can come out to the kitchen, or you can go into the backyard or the front yard, or you can have a garage. And so all of these things are aspects that you just can't get in the dorms, and here you get a lot more of that freedom, and you just enjoy the space with the people around you.
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, like, just not being able to be in a dorm and like having just your own room and own space to just like do homework, just like do your own thing is so amazing, and not having like another roommate disturbing you at all.
And being on campus, you know, it can be scary, it can be intimidating, and so a house just provides a lot of that extra comfort of, you know, this is my home, this is a place where I have friends, I have people that are going to become family, and it kind of just gives a sense of, you know, being comforted even though you're at school.
That comfort is magnified by not only their shared love of running, but a shared faith.
It's great. My first year I went to another college, and it wasn't really the best experience, and so coming here I was like excited but also very nervous, and just having this community has been really uplifting, and it just put a different perspective in my eyes of just like the college atmosphere, so it's been really important to me.
The shared faith community is not just those in the Koinonia housing, but at the campus ministry site. Every Thursday night, students are welcome to a free home-cooked meal provided by any one of a long list of area churches that want to support kids in college.
Well, I was in youth ministry for over 20 years, and I saw a lot of high school students. They graduate and they kind of move on to the next thing, and it can be really hard whenever you go to a college campus, and especially if you grew up in a Christian home and you're in church, and then you go to a secular campus, and Christianity isn't looked at, and they see things in a whole different light, and so it can be kind of challenging to their faith and to stay strong in their faith. And so I just think that's a great ministry to kind of help students along the way as they kind of step into that next level of adulthood.
Yeah, having those other churches provide that, it just lets us know that there's people praying for us, thinking about us. Sometimes it can feel lonely in terms of we're just here by ourselves trying to figure it out, but just knowing that there's people who do care about us college students and want to make sure we're well taken care of and looked after.
There's no shortage of food or conversation.
Yeah, I love being part of Koinonia because every Thursday we have a great little community. We're able to come here, get a home-cooked meal, which every college student loves, and then have some wonderful fellowship time and worship, and then some small groups and fun activities afterward.
Helping transfer students like Sydney make connections. Grace Scott landed here after wandering from Missouri to California, then Minnesota and back.
Koinonia to me, it means fellowship in Latin, which it definitely embodies that here, but it also means a lot more. Here, wherever you can be with a bunch of college students who are like-minded and that are going through a lot of the same things that you're going through. It's like a big support system all within the body of Christ who encourage you to grow in your faith and also along with your walk with Christ. And it's just made a major impact on my life and on my future in my own faith and wanting to reach out and potentially do ministry with others in the future, which is really neat.
So there's just a lot of outside stuff, and just knowing that you can have something consistent that you have every single week is just really big to know that there's something there that you can rely on.
We're all the same age. We can express true problems and feelings and emotions, and it's not just a support group, it's a group that helps you grow in your faith and understand your life through your faith. And yeah, it's incredible, like the more and more people that we have come, and people that either come with friends or people that come just totally alone, don't really know what they're looking for. It speaks a lot to God's character of just kind of like surprising us.
The cross-country runners and roommates agree it's a faith-based connection that keeps them accountable.
The dorms are crazy, so like you're gonna run into a lot of things that like maybe you don't want to be around. The people next to you could be doing things that you don't want to necessarily be around. So like being in a house with like 3 other people that you know have the same like mindset and same faith, it's important because you're never gonna have to worry about any of the things that could like bring you down or like the negatives of life in college.
Just the influence that the other guys have on me, and just being at on Thursday nights and just diving into God's Word deeper definitely helps you propel in that.
Dinner is a plus, but that's not really the idea. It's just to go there and worship God and be around people who also want to worship Him.
It's huge. I mean, in a world, especially in a college environment, there's a lot of outside forces, and you're coming from your house, you're used to your family and your core values, and nothing's ever disrupted that. And so you come to college and you have all these outside influences, and all of a sudden you kind of don't know who you are, you lose sight of who you are. And so being grounded in your faith and having a community around you and a housing unit that you're living in that's grounded in faith just kind of allows you to reorient yourself and remember where you lie and what you believe and what you stand for. And we can connect on our core values and our beliefs and have that baseline, and then from there you build the friendship and you realize, we are different, but because of this flat line that we were able to come together on, now we've grown into a friendship and we've learned from each other and been able to influence each other in our lives.
We're back. As we saw in the video, Koinonia, which means fellowship, includes a weekly dinner, but also an organized group session. Joining us to discuss how that comes about are staff members, Viola and Adam Russell. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us. Excited to be here.
This is exciting. You guys really do draw in a lot of students, and as we get into this, I want to find out what you think the key to success is, but what drew you to campus ministry as a career?
Yeah, well, kind of like David, I went to Ozark Christian College, and during my studies there I had to get like an internship or field experience credit, and I wasn't really sure where I was going to do that. And I got like a text from David saying, "Hey, we have a worship ministry position open here. We'd love for you to come check it out." And I'd never met him before in my life. Yeah. I was like, "How did he find me?" Like,
so was this internship for free at first, or was it a paid internship?
Well, it was paid.
Oh,
how
nice!
Paid. So it kind of became my I had a couple other jobs, but like. Took some less hours there, started doing some more stuff at Koinonia, and I stuck around. Like I just graduated this past May, and I'm still here. So still doing staff here at Koinonia, and I brought some people along with me.
Yeah. So Viola, you two are married.
Yes.
So did you meet at Koinonia or just some other way? And where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Houston, Texas, so we did not meet at Koinonia, but we were both hired on staff when we were dating, and we did get married after that. And so, yeah, we met actually through Christ in Youth, which is here in Joplin as well. So that's how we met, and now we are doing campus ministry together.
So, and let's define your roles, and how do you plan what you do for a worship service, and what's your role in it? What's your role in it, Adam?
Yeah, so I'm like the worship director, but also men's discipleship. So even though I do like a lot of the planning for our service specifically on Thursdays, that's probably maybe 20% tops of what I do, because my focus is to make sure our guys are being discipled and poured into, and that even though I am young, just having somebody who's available to do things like coach an intramural basketball team or go get breakfast on Friday mornings at 7. So that's, even though I do the worship, the men's just discipleship making is a big part as well.
It's not just Thursday nights. How often do you meet with some of the varieties of students?
Yeah, so we do Mondays and Wednesdays. Our building is open from noon to 5 for students to come. They can just get coffee, they can do their homework, they can file their taxes if they want. We got Wi-Fi, so, but then we do men's breakfast on Friday mornings at 7, just before everybody goes to class, kind of end of the week, and it's just a good way to get together, like off campus, outside of kind of like our building, and do stuff with that. But we also have a couple things where like women meet as well.
So yeah, Viola, tell us about your Efforts ministry with the
so,
women. It's not just Thursday night as well.
No, yeah, that's right. So women, we meet on Sunday nights at 6 p.m. at our building. So we have a group of leaders, student leaders that lead a Bible study at the building. And then we also meet for Women's Wednesday. Like yesterday, we had a potluck dinner at our home, and we had a group of girls come over, and they brought food over, and it was just a life group kind of, just to get to know each other better and just hang out on a Wednesday night. And like he said, Mondays and Wednesdays we are open from noon to 5 at the building, just to have a space for students to come and do homework, talk with us if they want to, or just to have another opportunity to get out of their dorm throughout the week. So
you're both young. You said you were a recent graduate yourself even. Do you think your age is a factor in the being welcoming to the students and the fact that they come out and come to your sessions? Because it is amazing. In today's world, there's so much apathy amongst young people, but you had a crowd. I mean, 50, 60 plus students, and I heard at times it's gone up to 80, 90. What's drawing them in? Do you think your age helps them feel relatable?
Maybe in some ways, but I don't think it's entirely to do with our age, but it does help us have opportunities to come like on campus at Missouri Southern and just set up a table and like talk to students and maybe in some ways like be like approachable, I guess. But I don't think it's just because we're young. I mean, David said he's been here for 34 years, so if he's been here that long, then he's doing something right for sure. So.
What do you think draws the students to this? I mean, is there a need in students that is drawing them to this faith-based ministry?
yeah, so I think the students really draw each other in. I think their motivation to come is contagious, and so I think others see that and they want to come as well. I mean, probably our age plays a little bit of a factor, but I think it's mostly students see other students being excited and they want to come and join in and come check us out and see what's it all about. And
what are some of the concerns you hear from students? Because they obviously come there. Some of the ones we talked to said, oh, it's just nice, to share some of your problems with other people of like minds. What are some of the issues that you might have to help them deal with?
I think a big issue today is just with like our culture and just how it's very like, with social media and like all these like influencers. I feel like there's this push for people to like just think more about themselves. And I feel like that kind of plays into a lot of like, in some ways, just mental health issues, just putting this pressure on like your own shoulders to be a certain person when like I believe that God's created us for community and being able to be with other people and do life alongside of them. And I feel like Koinonia has been an awesome opportunity for students to come and be a part of community, get outside of their own just like personal shell and be with other students, whether that is on a Thursday night, just worshiping, praising God, and like being poured into like from the Word, and just talking to each other in small groups. I think that's been an excellent way that students are, I guess, countering like the issues that like campus culture may bring upon them.
Right. I mean, it certainly feels like family. When you have small groups as well, I mean, is there something different in the small group that comes out when, we have the big group, everybody's there, it's one big kind of celebration. But on a small group level, are there issues that you kind of have to tackle?
yeah, I mean, girls in college, we definitely have a lot of things going on, right? And I've heard girls voice that they feel more comfortable in just a group of girls and a smaller group where they feel like they can share and they feel safe and they feel heard. And that's something that I've gotten feedback on, and they do appreciate and enjoy those small group settings where they just feel like they have a platform that they maybe didn't have in another setting.
Sure. How do you plan your worship sessions? I mean, do you pick a certain topic, and then how important is the music?
Yeah, so before each semester we have like, we talk to our student leaders and we choose a book or like a series. So right now we've been going through characters of the Old Testament, not necessarily chronologically, but just going through like Moses, Joshua, Esther, people like that. So right now we're going through a couple of the judges like Samson and Gideon and Deborah. And so we choose that beforehand. And then the staff, so me, Viola, and we have another man named Alex. We plan our service by, like, we will read the passage. We'll try and talk to the speaker if we have their, like, contact, you know, and we choose songs accordingly, just so everything, like, we thread a needle. That way, everything just kind of coincides with each other and brings out, like, whatever just the dominant theme for the night is. So, like, the past couple of weeks, there's just been a lot about, like, faith and trusting that God is going to do what he says, even if the circumstances may seem odd. So, like, a lot of the songs we've been singing the past couple of weeks have been about that. And so that's like a little bit of that, but we also like to incorporate video as well. Yeah. So since there's a lot of storytelling about certain characters, we make a little silhouette story where it looks like they're little shadow puppet kind of things on a screen. And so those help kind of convey a big portion of this person's life that it's like we might not be able to cover all of it, but we can give them like a minute long of like, this is their life in a nutshell in a fun way.
You draw a lot of kids there. Are you proud of that? Do you feel like, oh, hey, we're answering a need, we're fulfilling a void?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's really motivating for us to see all the students that want to come, and encouraging, I would say, too. I think the best part of our job is seeing students respond in the way that they do, and they're excited to be leaders. And ultimately, like, that's what I think our job is about in our ministry, is equipping them to be leaders when they do graduate school, and leaders not just in general, but like for the kingdom of God. And that's just what makes our ministry unique and special, is that I feel like we do have students who are ready to go out into the world and do that.
A lot of them said they feel home, feel grounded. Is that important to you, to make it seem like they have a place to turn?
Oh yeah, like I feel like, I mean, to each other they do, you know, and then I hope that they can feel at home and supported by ministers like us and David and Alex as well. And, you know, I do have students sometimes, if they're ever in need, I tell them, hey, text me, call me, I'm available anytime, you know, like if you ever need anything, like we'll be there for them, so.
It's a great support system, and congratulations for the turnouts that you have and what you're doing for the students of Missouri Southern. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us.
And that wraps up this edition of Newsmakers. I'm Lisa Oligas. Thanks for watching.